Hi, everybody. All right, so we'll just get into it right now. I think a lot of your fans that are sitting out here and maybe anywhere else in the world that might be watching this have an important question and one that only you can answer. You know, you've been in Pantera, you were a bassist, that's what you were known for with Down and Pantera. Why did you decide to switch to being a frontman, singer, vocalist, and playing guitar? Was it to refresh yourself with music, or you wanted to try something new?
Both. It was just something I was on a bus and I was sitting there and I was going, I've been doing this for 25 something years, and I just was feeling kind of, wasn't homesick or anything like that. It was just kind of like, I need to do something else. And so I told myself, finish these dates, go home, and then take 2 years off. I didn't get but about 8 months in, and I started writing songs again. And from there, I went to Nashville, and Nashville has become this really cool haven for just guys they just opened their arms to me when I came up. So it was one of those things where you get that gut instinct that, you know, you need a change, you know, you need to do something else. And I'm just getting my feet wet with this, you know, so we worked on basically demoing this thing for, you know, I would come in about every 5 weeks and finish about 4 songs, and then, but we had a whole breadth of material on this record. We went from 24 to 13 now to 11. So it was, you know, it was picking and choosing. And then, you know, the horrifying part of standing up in front of that microphone for the first time and trying to sing, and, you know, but once I found that, everything fell in place.
So when you said it was terrifying to get up there and actually get behind the microphone and take that role, was there anything that you did to prepare yourself or get you through maybe some of the stage fright, for, you know, as ironic as that might sound?
No, but it was terrifying. We went through this one track, and it's like the 5th or 6th track on the record, and something felt real, felt natural. I wanted it to be honest and me. I didn't want to sound like anybody else, and I've heard the comparisons and all that, and whatever. At first I didn't like the way the voice sounded. You know, nobody likes to hear their voice. I don't know if you've ever tried this before. It's one of those things I had to get over. And we put a bunch of, you know, distortion on it, and we put this and that for whatever the track needed. At the very end of the day, I just said, let's take everything off of it and just let the voice be real, and get it hot in the mix.
So it's kind of almost like being naked, kind of.
It is. Even though it was. It stripped down a lot of barriers. Mm-hmm. And but I wanted to make a rock and roll record. You know, why did I start this in the first place? Why did I do this? Because of my love of music. Mm-hmm. And I've been playing guitar forever. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes I would write, you know, passages on certain stuff, even with the other bands I was in, but it helped me find my bass line. You know, I'm still a bass player, number one, but, you know, playing rhythm guitar is an extra challenge. This has been a challenge for me. At the same time, it's been so much fun, and so much just invigorating.
So it's like almost you're still learning, even though you have all this history and this long legacy of playing rock music and metal, and now you are still learning. I guess my next question would be you know, you have a pretty impressive, you know, legacy of recorded music, like I said, from Pantera to Down, a lot of stuff that people hold very near and dear. So how do you look at this, besides the fact that you're taking on a different role? How does this fit in your musical legacy? Like, besides being, you know, you're learning and you're playing a new instrument for this project?
Really don't think of it that way. I just try to do the best I can to get it done. Mm-hmm. Where does this sit? It sits differently than Pantera. It sits differently than Down. It sits differently than what I did in Kettle of a Hill, what I did with, you know, producing other bands. I played on tons of stuff between 2005 and 2007 in LA I was never credited for. So I couldn't get out of a contract. So I'm a musician, number one. And regardless of what you're doing, you know, I still attack the guitar the same way I would attack the bass.
I play it real hard and try to get some really heavy-duty strings because they'll break. They're not as heavy as the bass ones.
Did you happen to ask anybody else that, you know, might have made a switch and started singing for the first time, like anything they've done or any advice, or did you just like go for it?
I just went for it. I really did, and it was a trial and error. You know, it was. You know, I still listen back and I hear stuff and I go, "Wow, I wish we would have fixed that," or no, I like that better because it is off key,
Right.
or just a little bit. You know,
It's like the
at least it's
imperfections.
real. You know, I wanted this to be a real record, a real honest. You know, if you just take that off of the music, the name and everything else, and that picture, and just listen to the music, that's all that matters.
Right, sure.
The moniker, everything else goes away, and you just listen to the music. I'm damn proud of it. Couldn't be happier.
That's great. I mean, that's really like we were saying back in the
It's all you
groove
can.
room.
It's all
Yeah.
you can ask for.
Yeah, you make it because you want people to hear it. You're not trying to
course.
keep it to yourself.
Of course.
So can you go a little bit deeper, maybe on songs like Lone Rider or Buried Alive or Crossing the Lines? Where are you pulling from, like just emotionally, lyrically? What sources or what's inspiring? What's going on in the rest of the record?
Well, you know,
Besides you singing.
you can take the boy away from the farm, you know, but you can't take the farm far from the boy. So it still has that swagger. It has that intensity, and I think with everything that I've approached in doing, from singing to playing guitar, and then the bass was done. We did that first. We did that within the first. I had gone to the studio thinking we were going to get 3 tracks and be there 3 days. I ended up being there about 11 days, and we just kept getting better and better and better. And there's this chemistry that was in that studio. And when you find that, it's hard to describe unless you've been in these situations before, but it was something that it felt right. You have that gut instinct about something, man, you got to go for it.
Sure. Was any of that surprising to you? Like that it kind of came together the way that it did in the studio?
Yeah, sometimes you got to take those, you have to take those challenges and do something with them. If not, you're just going to be stale. You're just taking too much space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. So how do you think, a diehard Pantera fan listening to this, is there something that you would tell them, a song you would say, listen to this song first? Or do you think there's a song that might reach a lot of that legion of fans?
Well,
or
I
is
mean,
it, because it is so different, obviously, but it's still you.
We did Train Song, and that's about as close as you're going to get to it. Mm-hmm. But that riff's been around for a long time, and Lance had that riff in my co-writer in this. He had that riff for a long time, and so when they asked me what song would you like to do the first video of, I said, well, let's go ahead and give it to Train. Maybe we can, But I think that if people, a lot of people that grew up with the same kind of music that I did, so maybe they'll understand. This is just a new palette. This is a new beginning for me, where I want to go. Like I said, just get my feet wet now.
How has the response been? Have people kind of talked to you about it? Like maybe approach you on the street or something?
Yeah.
What's
Which is
the
amazing. And I'm like, oh, God damn, I couldn't get arrested last week. So anyway, it's one of those things, you take the good with the bad, and this is all just great. I've got a really, really good band that I've put together to support this thing, and we're going out in the fall. And it feels great playing music again, the way I want to do it.
Mm-hmm. So it really sounds like, you're kind of calling all the shots on it, right, pretty much?
Yeah. I'm wearing the white Stetson hat.
So do you want to talk about one of the songs, maybe talk a little bit more about the lyrics or something that inspired, or you want to keep that kind of...
I'll leave the lyrics up for interpretation. Mm-hmm. The only one that really, Buried Alive is what I went through kind of, and I didn't even notice this, is when I wrote it, that it just went from, you hear about these guys, and I never knew it until I started writing. I always write. I write all the time. But when I was writing lyrics for this, I wrote it, and I didn't realize what I'd done until after I performed it. And I go, that's exactly what I went through after Dime passed. Mm-hmm. That's what I had to go through. Mm-hmm. And so that was very, for me, it's not a tribute to him.
Right.
It's what I had to go through.
Yeah, of course, because, you know.
And it's, I still think he's around me all the time. It's crazy.
Say that again?
I still think he's around all the time. I really
You
do.
feel him out there,
Because he's
right? I
got
think,
angels.
I think a
Sometimes,
lot of,
yeah,
I think a lot of people, you know, who are fans of
He
him
was that,
feel him.
You know, yeah.
Yeah,
He
it's
was
like-
that dude.
Yeah, I feel like it's this, you know, not here, but all around, you know, not in front of
Absolutely.
you, but everywhere
It's-
else.
it's the art.
It's like a spirit, yeah. I feel
We
like
caught
most
ourselves
metal
in the
fans.
studio sometimes going,
Do you think he would, what do you think he would think of the record?
I would hope that he'd be proud of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing him, I bet he would. So, but I can't. That's just.
Right, that's just, yeah, like what we're saying, speculation. So for you going on tour, are you going on tour on this fall? Is that, so I guess now you're gonna get up there on stage and be performing and be the center of attention again almost. It's magnified now because you're not in the studio and there's not like, okay, we can do it over or we can get rid of this version or we can, you know, retool it. I've just noticing you're grinning a little bit. So how are you feeling about that? Are you nervous at all or
No.
how are you gonna approach it?
Not at all. You just get up there and do what you do, you know. You're only as good as your last gig and you're only as good as the last note you hit. So, I mean, it's just something I've kept with forever. So,
And
instilled.
oh, go ahead, sorry. I was going to say, because you have been making music for so long and so many different projects, you know, some people get to this point in their life and, you know, they're either phoning it in or they're out of gas, they're on fumes, they're just not pulling from a real place or they're just tired. What keeps you going? Is it just
That's
discovering?
the way I felt it before I did this record. Now I feel like I'm freaking 30 years old again, you know, in the heyday of when the Pantera was going on. So it's man, it's refreshing. It's this new outlook. I mean, you know, as we mature and we get a little bit, I wanted to stretch the borders a little bit. You know, it's like a painter. If he's painting the same picture every time, he's not going to get any good at painting something else. You know, or he'll put another little color in there or something like that, but it's still the same goddamn picture. You know, so I want to do something different.
It's like they say, you don't want to make the same album over
test
and
the
over.
challenges. I mean, that's what we did from the very front, you know, from the very start. And look, I'm very proud of the record. I'm happier now, and I matured a lot since those old days.
Sure. And do you have, I know
I'm
this
still
is,
crazier than hell.
I don't doubt that at all. So is there a song that, I know it's like asking an artist to pick their favorite child, but do you have a song on the record that might be your favorite or was the most challenging for you or that you just love the end result because you didn't expect what it became?
I think Buried Life is it's one of my favorites, but then once you start playing these live with the guys that I have in the band, it's like now you have some new fresh blood in there that are playing these songs, and it like I just want to play, you know, a song like Best of Me for about 10 minutes, you know. So every song is a new, you know. I always want to make the jam a little further, even though I intentionally, you know, don't bore us, get to the chorus on this one.
So do you think, will this be like, obviously it's just, you know, you're just getting your feet wet almost with doing a solo record. Do you think this is a one-off or do you think that you might be doing more solo records or you just don't know wherever the wave's gonna take you?
I already know when I want to do the next one. It's already in my head. It's already actually half the songs are written.
Really?
Or more.
So do you, when you have those ideas, I guess, if you're on the road or are you constantly like just recording it like a melody in your phone? Like I hear a lot of artists say that they just grab the iPhone and record it so they don't lose it. What's your method of when something hits you?
I've got 100, 200 riffs in this phone right now. I would hate to lose it.
Oh my gosh.
But they're all backed up to the cloud.
Yeah, I was
so
gonna say, you hope nobody hacks into your
hopefully
cloud.
I'll be cool, but I haven't checked it lately. But, you know, sometimes you'll go back and you listen to that one and that'll fit what you're looking for. And then sometimes just one simple passage, it'll just come to you. And that's what happened with the very ending of the record. Lance sent me this one little thing that he had on keyboard, and I just wrote the rest of the song off of that. It was really uncanny the way we did it. But just the way that, it's working with different people, I got to keep moving on.
Right. Well, even though, like, to take it back a little bit, I always think, I can't go to a metal show this day and age without hearing somebody, new bands, established bands, always covering a Pantera song. It's usually Walk. How do you feel about that? Like, is there any Walk cover that you've heard? Like, I know Disturbed does it. Like, a lot of bands have done it. Is there anybody who's done it? I think Hatebreed's done it. Like, that you really love a version of,
No,
or
I
you
mean,
just...
that's flattering. That's very flattering, I think that means we did what we had that gift, we gave it, and man, it's still growing.
Right.
The generation to generation, it's just, it's a phenomenon. It really is.
Yeah, you still see, like, you'll go to Hot Topic
I'm
and you'll
very
see
proud.
Pantera shirt.
I'm also very proud to have that. I mean, I'm incredibly grateful at this point in my life to have what I have.
Sure. And you still have the platform to be able to keep doing it, and
that's
reinventing yourself.
And that's the nicest part.
Yeah,
Right.
that's something to totally obviously be proud of. So is there anything that we have not touched on about this record that you want your fans to know about, or just to maybe that'll inspire them to go, I got to hear this, like, because there's so much music out there. Besides being a fan of you or a fan of Pantera, what about this that you feel is worth them the time and money investment of picking it up?
I think that you need to listen to from the very first note till you hear the very last one. So I don't know where to get in between there.
So it's a true start to finish album that you kind
Other than
of shut the lights out, listen to it.
it's my interpretation of sonically, you've only heard 2 tracks, and those are just the front-loaded end of this record, which means there's a lot more in there that has a lot more depth, is a lot more. You can be dark or heavy without being fast.
I think a lot of people don't realize that heavy's more of a vibe than it is just, loud.
If I
People
can touch
assume.
one person with one song, that's cool. If it does something for somebody during the day, and that's the gift I got.
I think that when people dive into the record, like you
I
said.
know it sounds corny, but it's really the truth.
I think, yeah. Nobody makes music because they don't want people to hear it. People listen to music because they find comfort in it. So.
And I think it's time for it's time for a good rock and roll record to come out. I don't know. There are good rock and roll records out there. I'm not saying mine's the best or it's the worst or anything out there. I just feel that I just feel comfortable. I feel at home with this record.
Sure. And it's yours too.
And it's
what I
mine.
mean? So, and it's got you all over it. So that was basically everything that I wanted to ask you about this record. So we're going to be able to, in about a minute, open it up for questions from the fans. So is there famous last words? Anything else that you want to say about this?
Life is much more than just making a record. There's much more to living life and bringing positive things into this world than some of the stuff around. And like I said, I'm just grateful to still have the opportunity to be able to do this and and have all you guys show up for this little thing. It means the world to me, it really does. And that's the truth.
Yeah, I think
That's
that kind of that vibe comes out of you. So, and I think people will feel it when they hear the record and really dive into all of the songs, just not the ones that they've heard so far. So.
Yeah. We'll see.
Well, we
One
wish
day
you
at
the
a
best.
time.
Yeah, right? That's all you can do, right? So we wish you the best with this record
Thank you so
and the
much.
touring, and I look forward to seeing it played live. And, I think that's really where I'll connect most with it. So, and I think a lot of fans will too. So.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. A lot of bands have held you as an inspiration that have come out since the days of Pantera and down, and I've heard a lot of people say great things about this. And like I said before, so many new bands have held you as an inspiration. Have newer bands ever inspired you at all in terms of how you make music or moving forward in general?
Sure. I mean, you have to keep your hands on the pulse, and I don't like to name bands in particular, but yes, there have been several bands that I see the direction, I see how they kind of do that, and I'm not trying to emulate, but it gives me inspiration to
this is a very inspiring record for me, just to make, to do one, you know. I always wanted to do a solo record, so this is really, it's where I'm feeling really comfortable in it, you know.
My question is, when you go on tour, is there a specific venue that you're most excited to perform at?
There's a bunch of them. Yipes. You stumped me. You know, one place I've never played is Madison Square here. Not that I'll know if I ever play it or not, but we always played in Nassau, right? So that would be one of the big time things in my life, to be able to play the Square, the Garden.
So I know, like, so from Pantera, you were doing bass, and then for your last band, you were doing drums, and with this, or were you? But do you?
No drums.
No drums. Oh, sorry. Do you, like, what was your musical background like before you got into bands? Were you? Did you just kind of like pick it up on your own, or was there like did you have any formal training, or did you just like jump into it? And what were your influences before?
I started playing guitar. I learned it at YMCA when I was 9, and have continued to play off and on. I played on the early Pantera, like Cowboys from Hell. That's me in the background beneath the lead. Cemetery Gates. That's me. On acoustic, and I play piano and all kinds of stuff. I'm a musician, man. You know, it runs in my family. So. Hope that answered your question.
And that's it, right? I think that's all we have time for. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Very nice.